And we're live with the inaugural episode of Paranormal-Spirits.com. I'm Mike Black. This is my wife, Alyssa Black, and my best friend, John Burkett. We all have had paranormal experiences. We all like to talk about the paranormal experiences we had. We all like to drink, so...
Responsibly.
Responsibly, of course. And only good liquor. So we've decided that we would put together a podcast where we can get our booze on, B-O-O-Z-E. We can also talk about booze, B-O-O-S, the things that scare us, the things that go bump in the night. And I can do this with my booze, my favorite people. And all of you guys listening who are into the paranormal and or into booze for that matter, the B-O-O-Z-E kind. And that way we can share with everybody and create a platform and a medium for everyone to tell their story. So tonight, let's start off with our B-O-O-Z-E. John, take it away. What do we have?
This is Don Julio Blanco, Tequila.
Okay.
As you can see, that was a full bottle Saturday. It has been quite popular.
Wow. Okay. With who? So, yourself?
With myself.
With yourself. Okay.
So now, I have a question.
It was half full when I got here, by the way.
I want to interrupt for a second. So is this blue tequila?
It is blue.
The glass is blue. No, the tequila is clear.
The tequila is clear, so it is truly a Blanco, but the glass is blued. That's cool.
It's a pretty glass.
It is a pretty glass. So this is a Blanco, which means that this has not been aged. It came straight out of the still and into the bottle.
No barreling.
No barreling. Definitely has legs.
You got more than me.
I'm bigger than you.
I tried to get it perfectly even. I sucked.
Yeah, I hope you made hers light.
Yes, it's quite heavy and oily. But
it is heavy and oily. So
it smells very. Now I'll tell you, the website says citrus notes of lemon, lime, and grapefruit.
I would just say citrus notes.
Citrus, yes.
I'm not picking out the separate ones.
I'm not that distinct.
Yeah.
In the nose.
It's a great summer shooter.
Summer
or sipper.
Shooter.
It's good enough to sip.
Now this. I will say
very
now,
sweet smelling.
I could play like I've never tried this before, but that'd be a lie.
I said, the bottle was half full.
Yeah, I've tried a couple of glasses or a couple
glasses
of shots tonight,
Dang.
whatever. But this has a very, very robust nose for the roasted agave.
Yes,
you smell that agave, and if you don't know what roasted agave smells like. Get you a bottle of this, and then you know that's roasted agave.
Yeah, it doesn't have that ethanol burn.
No, it does not smell
that covers up the smell of the agave.
No,
like less expensive.
What is the price point on this?
45-ish, mid-40s
for a 750.
Yep,
that's good.
It's about 27 for the 350, so you might as well just
get the big one.
Okay, so I love the smell of that. So here we go on the tongue.
All right. Cilantro.
Ick. Still smooth, as that is not my first partaking. Little on the scorpions, not too much. Doesn't hurt too bad.
It's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
little burn.
Right there.
I feel it back here too.
Little tickle, little black pepper back there.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice though.
In the back of the tongue.
Very smooth.
Very smooth.
I normally would not sit and sip a Blanco. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I don't
my
either
jam.
typically, but this doesn't have. This is complex enough. I can use that word. It's complex enough because I get the citrus.
Definitely get that citrus.
Definitely get the agave and the black pepper. The black pepper's a little strong, but I think that's because it's a Blanco.
Right, that would settle down in a barrel.
Right.
But exactly. I've had their reposado. Wasn't terribly impressed by it.
You like this better?
I like this better.
Okay.
I like the agave black pepper. I like that
That agave and
That
the black
punch.
pepper is prominent in that. I will say that. That's very good. It's very smooth. You don't get a lot of that burn. And I know a lot of people get turned off with tequila, and we did tequila last week. And a lot of people get turned off when they see tequila because their experience with tequila is
Jose Cuervo
Jose
Gold.
Cuervo from
Ugh.
Lick the salt.
and
Shoot
the
it.
lime, and you know,
If
and
you have to do the salt and lime,
It's
should
garbage.
you
drink
need
it.
to buy a better tequila.
Yes.
But that's most people experience with tequila is either in high school or college.
The cheapest
Of course,
one.
I never drank in high school, but I know that some people do. And
False statement.
Horseshit.
Yes,
Maybe
absolute
just- I might be stretching
garbage.
it just a little bit there.
Stretching it.
But well, it probably broke. It probably snapped.
Absolutely
So,
a lie.
but most people's experience with tequila is that Jose Cuervo that they had at college at some party or something.
And that has distilled sugar in it.
Oh,
and that's
it's
what
just-
causes that horrible hangover.
It's absolute garbage. It tastes like crap.
If it does not say 100% puro de agave on the bottle, keep going.
Yeah, just keep walking.
Move on.
Because there are plenty out there at much lower price
Right.
points.
Yeah.
Like Cabrito, that is pure Weber blue agave.
Right.
There's no sugar distillates in it, and it's $20 a bottle, and it's fantastic.
Right. Right.
So-
And you don't have to. And so let's be real. It's all about marketing. And speaking of marketing, this episode is brought to you by Dr. Squatch Soap.
Hope you're listening, Dr. Squatch.
That's right. We're humping
Sampling.
for that endorsement. No, but seriously though, a lot of it has to do with the marketing. Yeah, and that's why Jose Cuervo, huge marketing behind Jose Cuervo.
Oh, and Reba McEntire songs and
Cabo Wabo and a lot of the bigger brands like that, they're huge into the marketing, and the bottle will be this glorious bottle, and let's not
Clase
talk-
Azul.
right, Clase Azul. And a lot of
Don't
times-
knock my Clase Azul.
yeah, Clase Azul. You don't a lot of tequilas you end up paying for the bottle and the way it looks.
I'm sure there is some price in that bottle.
Oh, I'm sure there is too. But that is good tequila. I won't take that away from it.
And it would be good in a cocktail. I don't know that I'd use it in a cocktail.
I think it's too expensive. For
I
a cocktail.
Agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't-
Agree.
I wouldn't
I'm
be
not up
making-
there. I mean,
I
there
would-
are some folks that'll be using Clase Azul in a cocktail. Let's just be real.
Well, we experienced
We
that.
did experience that.
I
Not
would-
only Clase Azul, but Añejo Clase Azul. That's around $550 a bottle.
Yeah,
That's just showing off.
it was.
Yeah.
Because
We-
it's going to ruin the flavor of your cocktail. 'cause
We went to a restaurant that their bar specialized in high-end tequilas, and we strictly went for the opportunity to have Clase Azul in a flight. So you get all their different
Got
levels.
Blanco, a Repo, and the Añejo. The Añejo by itself was $65. No, excuse me. The Añejo by itself was $55, where the whole flight was $65. So I'm like, give me the flight. And he said, we don't have any more Añejo.
They we went to...
the Repo's better. I've tried both, and for me, I like the Repo better.
So do we name the restaurant? Do we say the restaurant?
We don't need to say the restaurant. I guess,
Okay,
but-
we were in San Antonio at a restaurant that specializes in tequila, and that's not hard to figure out. And so anyway, we're there, and the night we went on Saturday. On Friday night, they had a tequila tasting, a big bourgeois thing, and
We had gone on a Friday. They had it on Thursday.
oh, that's right, that's true.
Yes.
And so we go to this tequila tasting, and the night before, they had been inundated by this huge crowd that wanted nothing but top shelf.
It was a private party.
And they wiped out all the top shelf tequila at a tequila bar.
And then he said they were using it for margaritas.
Nearly-
Margaritas.
I almost cried.
So then I said, okay, well, how about the Herradura Selección Suprema, which I've never had. And nope, out of that too, they were making margaritas with that, which is around, I think, $200 a bottle. So,
That's
Right.
like making whiskey cocktails out of 25-year-old Macallan or something.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's above my price point. Let's just say that. And I'm not going to be doing that to cardinal sin of margaritas.
And it's not going to taste right.
No, because you.
well,
The whiskey-like notes in the Clase Azul are not going to work.
No, I don't think
In a
that doesn't
margarita.
shine through very well.
This would make a fantastic margarita, but there's no reason to spend this much on margarita.
No, you can get something.
See, and
You can buy
Lot less. Your
Espolón.
Cabrito.
Or Cabrito or Espolón, Centenario. There's plenty of reasonable,
Salsa.
half the price.
my favorite,
Salsa.
my favorite for margaritas,
1800
is
Reposado.
1800 Reposado. I mean, because you get some of the barrel there, you get a nice smooth tequila. You can drink it straight. You can sip it.
I'll shoot it, but I won't sit there and sip on it.
It's not great, but it's not bad either.
No.
But if you throw it in a margarita and throw some mix around it, it's awesome then. But
Yeah. I think what makes a good top shelf is not so much your high-end tequila. It's if you have, for me, I like when you have like Grand Marnier.
Grand Marnier, yeah.
Or one of
Right.
the
Instead of
the
the-
orangey liqueurs that go with it. To me, that makes it taste. Don't spend the money on the Patron. Like just
No.
buy your run of the
no,
mill and add some Grand
That's
Marnier.
the end of the sentence right there. Don't spend money on Patron. I've had the Añejo.
don't buy into the marketing.
Do not buy into the marketing of that because it is not good.
No,
No.
not when you can do this for the same
We-
price, but less.
We had a friend of ours gave us a couple, 3 bottles of partially,
Two. There
partially,
was a Repo, no,
A Repo and a
Blanco,
Blanco.
and yeah.
and we gave it away.
And actually, I think one of them was an Añejo, and
It
we gave
was.
them all away because we're just like
I've had the Añejo and I've had the Plata.
Yeah, and it's not impressive.
the Repo isn't any better.
Plata's
either.
fine. The Añejo was very underwhelming.
And when she's saying repo, she means reposado.
Reposado.
So
Which is your mid-grade mid-age
Right.
range.
all right, so we've talked about our booze for the night.
We could do that for an hour.
Yeah, we
We
could
could.
talk on and on and on about tequilas and liquors, but let's move on into the booze BOOZE portion of our
No.
story. No,
BOOS.
you're right. BOOS.
I think the BOOZE is getting to you.
it may be. That's because
See,
It just
who
might be.
needed the bigger?
Yeah, I think I need the smaller shot on that one, didn't I? Okay, so let's move quickly on into the BOOS portion of our show, and so I need you to produce a wolf howl. Can you do that for me? That's not bad. That's pretty good. So, a couple of wolf howls. Good job. So the reason being is because we're going to talk about the Bray Road Beast. If you don't know what the Bray Road Beast is, this blew up into a sensation during the late 80s, early 90s. There was a quote-unquote werewolf spotted in Bray Road, or on Bray Road. And Bray Road is located in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, Walworth County. Current population is 10,330, and that comes into play later on in the story. But think about this, 10,000 people. And it lies southwest of Milwaukee, about 10 miles north of the Illinois border. One of the popular draws now for the town is Lake Geneva, which is a resort and swimming, skiing, that kind of thing. It was founded in the 1800s. By 1846, when the first town meeting was held, Elkhorn boasted a population of 539. Bray Road is a 4-mile stretch of ill-maintained blacktop through the farm and woodland surrounding Elkhorn. It used to be a trading route that was used to travel outside of the city limits to trade with the American Indians, and the reason they did that was because the Native Americans didn't want to come into the town, and understandably so.
Sure,
they weren't treated well. So this all begins back in 1936 in Jefferson, Wisconsin, which is actually a neighboring county, and the earliest sighting was by a security guard, Mark Shackleman. In 1936, Mark was working as a security guard at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children in Jefferson. Jefferson is 45 miles northwest of Elkhorn in Jefferson County, which is adjacent to Walworth County. St. Coletta was a school for the developmentally disabled. It is now an abandoned relic of a shell for its former glory, but during the school's prime between 1970 and 1980, it housed over 600 students and patients. The school was located inside a former Franciscan convent And the grounds covered several old buildings, an orchard, wide open fields where several old Native American burial mounds had been preserved. And as a night watchman for the school, Shackleman walked the grounds every night with his flashlight on his belt. He was crossing the fields when he saw a shadow. He squinted to see what it was. A hunched-over form was on all fours digging in one of the mounds. From the canine way it dug, it could have been a dog or maybe even a wolf, but he said even from that far away, he could see that the thing was far too big to be a wolf or a dog. Suddenly it looked at him and then stood up. The sleek-haired, covered body rose up to over 6 feet tall. It had a shaggy canine face, but underneath the thick fur there was a muscular body of a man. A low growl echoed across the field. Shackleman recounted smelling rotting meat. His heart beating fast, trying to control his breath, Shackleman stepped back. With a sudden burst of unnatural speed, the thing turned and ran off into the trees and was gone. Now, if that was me, I wouldn't come back to work the next time. Just wouldn't do it. No. Deuces, I'm done.
Wouldn't come back to work unarmed, that's for
this
sure.
This job is not worth the amount of money that you're paying me. Shackleman, however, returned to St. Coletta for his usual rounds the next night. As he walked the fields, he saw the shadow again, digging into the same mound as the night before. This time, he gripped his flashlight tight, ready to run or swing if need be. Again, it stood up, but this time it opened its mouth. Shackleman saw fangs shining in the moonlight with its slit, glistening lips pulled back in a snarl. It growled at him, its speech half human and half beast. Shackleman told his grandson later, "I think it said Gadara." Frozen by fright, Shackleman made no attempt to move, and again the creature turned and left, this time walking away. He never saw it again, but the horrendous growl, the way it seemed to speak to him in the proto-human-like language, stuck in his mind for years afterwards. Now, Gadara is an Armenian word that means from the top of the mountain, which is not very creepy or spooky. But if you look it up in the Bible, I think a lot of people remember the tale of the possessed man that Jesus cast into the swine from their Sunday school classes. And you can read about it in the New King James Version. It's Luke 8:26-30. Now, I promise you some paraphrasing occurs. But then they sailed to the country of Gadarenes or Gadarenes. Gadarenes were from Gadara, which is opposite of Galilee. And when he stepped out onto land, there he met a man from the city who had demons for a long time. And he wore no clothes, nor did he live in a house, but in the tombs. He was kept under guard and bound with chains and shackles, but he broke the bonds and was driven by the demons into the wilderness. Jesus asked him, saying, "What is your name?" And the man answered him, "Legion, for we are many." Later, Shackleman shared his experience with his friends and described the man-wolf he twice encountered as tall, about 6 feet, with a muzzled face, long curved fingers, and a sickening odor reminiscent of decaying beef. Another report from southern Wisconsin emerged during the closing weeks of 1939. A young couple reported their terror-filled encounter to the local police, describing a shaggy, wolf-like man walking along the highway on its hind legs. They claimed the creature was extremely muscular and had long gray hair hanging from its body. When the lights from the car lit up the beast, it turned, snarled, and ran into the shadows farther away from the shoulder of the road. The couple's description is very similar to Shackleman's and all the other sightings since. And then we move up into the modern days, into the 90s. In the early 1990s, Linda Godfrey was a reporter for Walworth County Week, a weekly supplement to the Janesville Gazette. She came to be aware that people in her hometown believed they had seen a werewolf. During her investigations, Linda went to talk to John Fredrickson, who was the county animal control officer in Elkhorn, to see if he had any information about the sightings. He took her into his office and produced a manila folder he had hidden in his desk, filed separately from all the other files. It was marked werewolf. So, nothing suspicious about that. So, I'm sure that this guy, Fredrickson, you know that when this person comes up and says, "Hey, I'm hearing all this, I'm hearing this riff."
He's like, "Thank God."
This scuttlebutt about this werewolf thing. Do you know anything about that? So he's like, oh my God, you know.
Thankfully, someone else.
So can you
get to
imagine though,
share this
he
with-
was so afraid for his job. Can you imagine if he'd have stuck that file in the filing cabinet with all the rest that said werewolf, you know? So he goes along and he goes, raccoon, possum, water buffalo, werewolf. You know?
Water buffalo.
I don't know. A lot of these game officers, they know about these things.
Oh yeah, they have to. You know, if they hear about these reports over and over and over. And so anyway, he had it stuck in his desk in case somebody came in and went through his filing cabinet. Okay, so several reports had come in from people who had seen this, and I'm using air quotes for those of you who are just listening and not watching. This thing that looked like a werewolf. It had the head of a wolf, 5 to 7 feet tall, stood and ran on its back legs. The first publicly recorded sighting was on October 31st by Doris Gibson. She was a senior in high school. She felt a thump in the side of her car at night while driving down Bray Road. She felt like she might have hit something or something might have run into her car, so she stopped to check. She got out of the car, looked back in the direction for where she had been coming. She said, I saw this thing. It was big. I don't know what it was, but it started running towards me. I could hear its feet hitting the asphalt. She gets back in the car and takes off, and as she's leaving, the thing scrapes down the back of her car. The car was later examined, and scrapes on the trunk of the car were consistent with 2 sets of claw marks. I would have needed a new diaper because that would have been absolutely terrifying. I would have. It was just, can you imagine this thing is, you could hear the feet coming at you. Can you imagine how scary that would have been?
No.
I seriously, I would have pooped myself. I just would have.
Poop myself.
I would. Another woman, Laura Andreezy, drove up on it. She slowed down, thinking it was a person. It was kneeling on the side of the road, holding what appeared to be roadkill in its upturned hands, the way a human might hold a hamburger. Then she saw the ears. They were pointed like a dog's ears. It was very large, broad-chested, shaggy gray, silver, and black coat. Tom Brickda, also a student at the local high school, his car was also scratched by the creature. His went down the side. I saw a video on that one. Robert Bushman of St. Nazines, Wisconsin. He wasn't from Elkhorn, and not knowing the stories of the thing, he said it was too large to be a wolf. Said the appearance was that of something wild. It made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. One woman reported that she had been walking down Bray Road and seen a deer dart across the road, followed by some, here we go with the air quotes again, thing that was chasing after it and running on 2 legs. These reports were coming from a widely diverse group from a demographic perspective. Reports were of a biped, hairy, tall, 7 to 8 feet, looked like a German shepherd, humanoid hands and claws, and its legs were bent backwards like a dog. Others, including many Native Americans, believed it to be the Wendigo, which was...
Wendigo.
Yeah, Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Yeah, might be the Wendigo, ain't yo, baby?
I'm never going to say it right. Wendigo.
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 I always say it wrong. Which has often been seen in Minnesota. Some witnesses insist that the werewolf stared at them. Those shaken people swear the wolf's hungry, primitive gaze is enough to freeze the heart. A few testified the thing's eyes were deep red, but most witnesses report that the headlight beams reflect back glowing yellow-colored eyes. Many of the witnesses insist that what they encountered was not imagined or a trick of the shadows at night, but a real, living, and breathing werewolf. Okay, so here's the post-it notes. These are some after things that are kind of cool that I thought. The Franciscan Reserve, where Shackleman worked and the Beast was digging in the mounds. It's still open today and can be rented out as a party venue for birthdays, weddings, and I'm sure Halloween parties, but etc. And I didn't realize, but during my research, I found out that evidently Wisconsin is this hotbed for paranormal activity.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that? I didn't know
I knew that
that.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
See,
both.
Michigan I had heard, but Wisconsin I did not know.
Wisconsin's got a lot of history to it that a lot of people don't know about.
A lot of Native American history.
Mm-hmm.
People just think of Laverne and Shirley and cheese and the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Actually, Barnum and Bailey are from there too. There's a museum for Barnum and Bailey the circus.
I
Fun
can
fact.
tell you that Madison is a fun college town.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I have been to Madison, Wisconsin before.
See,
There's
that-
some cool restaurants, some cool bars there.
I was going to say,
It's
I
a
think
cool
that's
town.
a story that John's going to have to tell us.
I almost went to the University of Wisconsin.
Go Badgers.
Well, yeah, but no. I went to I'm trying to figure out which one it was. It wasn't Green Bay. It wasn't Stevens Point.
It wasn't Madison.
No.
So,
It was too big. I didn't want that big of a college.
I'm all into the
River Falls.
I'm all into the werewolves, and everybody that I've ever talked to about paranormal stuff knows that I'm into werewolves. I watched like every werewolf movie except Bray Road Beast.
You have a werewolf tattooed on your arm.
I have a werewolf
Bro.
tattooed on my arm.
He
I
does
swear-
have
I
a
swear-
huge...
The whole story of Ossuary is on your
I swear to God,
arm.
I do. It's right there. I have a
So,
werewolf
yes,
on.
werewolves are your thing.
So I love the idea of werewolves, and so I've watched all these werewolf movies and all that. So I had to Google Map stalk the Bray Road and the whole 4 miles. So I started at the first and went all the way out to the end. And
It's haunted.
no, it's not. Alyssa has this ability to tell if something is haunted just by looking at it. Like we drive down these old country roads, she sees this dilapidated house and she goes, "Oh my God, 1000% that is haunted AF."
Yeah, I do that too.
I mean,
Yeah,
especially in the fog or something.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if I was a ghost, I'd
can
haunt
tell
that.
it's
Yeah.
haunted, right?
Can't
Exactly.
necessarily describe it, but you know it when you see it.
Yep,
Yeah,
you
okay.
pass it. Haunted.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So even if Alyssa Google Maps stalked this road, she wouldn't say that it was haunted. It's just this plain, ill-repaired. I mean, because it's got some bumps in it, but it's a blacktop road through the country. If you've ever driven through North Texas,
East
like
Texas,
East Texas, where we're from, you've seen this. You've seen corn growing
South
here,
Texas.
trees growing here. The next quarter mile, you've got trees here and corn here. I mean, it just
Well, not corn here.
They
It's
have
usually
corn there.
sorghum up in Illinois and Wisconsin. Yeah,
But
it's corn.
I mean, that's what you see. It's just corn and trees.
Look at him,
and farmhouses.
farming
know, right?
knowledge.
So I looked and I go, well, there's nothing scary looking about this. It doesn't seem spooky. It doesn't seem all that. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So I would like to point out, though, that the first public report was Doris Gibson on October 31st, which is Halloween. And that's the first time that in the 90s that it was brought up that somebody had seen the Bray Road Beast. And that's the girl who was driving, thought she hit it, and got out of her car and it chased after the car and scratched the back of the car. So, which lends one to believe, or
It's an awfully rural area to be playing a prank in.
It is. I agree.
Also, a great way to get yourself shot.
In Texas, you would
For sure.
get
Here,
shot.
yeah.
100%. But that doesn't
100%.
take much.
100%. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot to get shot in Texas.
I can assure you, if that was my truck in the middle of nowhere like that, there would be several 124 grain hollow points in that thing's body.
Are there pictures of these?
Never. No one has ever caught a
See,
picture.
I just don't know how I feel about that.
No one has ever caught a picture of the Bray Road Beast. Never.
I mean, I could understand in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't have the cell phone business.
Right.
But
But
in the 2000s,
I'm going to be honest with you. I've had experiences to where I'm like, oh my God, and I didn't have a cell phone in my hand. I didn't think.
but
to
in your
reach
car?
But I didn't think to reach into my pocket.
My
You're right.
recent UFO sighting, I was so amazed and bewildered.
I get it.
And overjoyed and happy with what I was watching.
Did you pull out your cell
It did
phone?
not occur to me until afterwards.
You were
to
living
even-
in the moment.
I was
You
living
were-
in the moment.
you were living in the moment.
Experiencing it.
Would you have been able to get a picture of it? Was it clear enough and close?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I was just so amazed,
Right.
amazing wonderment. It just,
You've let me down. I would like to have seen this.
Mara was there too. She had her
Okay,
phone
well,
too. Neither
then
of
let
us
me
thought
ask you
about
this.
pulling our phones out.
Alyssa,
It was-
the one truly paranormal experience that I know you have had
Mm-hmm.
was we were at a Civil War camp, prison.
At Fort Hood, whatever. Fort here.
Yeah.
Camp Ford.
Camp Ford. Thank you.
God, I couldn't remember.
Right here in Tyler, Texas.
And we were out and we were investigating at Camp Ford, and both of us saw.
Love that sound.
Yeah, I know, it's great, right? So both of us saw these legs and nothing else, and he's going to take every bit
I'm not.
It's his tequila.
I don't care.
Oh, he's sharing.
Yes, guys.
The teaching of sharing.
Anytime,
I don't think there's going to be enough to make it around.
It's
to it.
okay. Listen.
she doesn't need any more.
Apparently, I'm being rationed. Excuse.
Anytime that tequila comes to the house, it's our tequila. So we
Community.
share
Don't
the
come to
tequila.
this household
So-
without sharing.
Okay, so let's be real here.
That's
what
killed.
could this thing be?
A werewolf. Did it have a tail? I want to know about the tail. Like your tail on
I
your.
have-
It
yeah, I have
looks
a
like
tail.
a raccoon. You have a tail? I meant your tattoo has a
He
tail. I
has a
hope you know.
vestigial tail.
I paid really good money for that tattoo, but I never liked the tail on it.
I love the tail. I think
You
yes. I think it totally fits.
It looks like a raccoon tail.
It does look like a raccoon.
I
But
think it looks like
It,
a
look,
raccoon
it
tail.
looks like David Crockett's hat.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do about it though.
You could go to another artist and have it extended, and
listen, I think it works with his furry as the rest of him is. I realize it's a little raccoonish.
wait, who, Mike? Or
Yes,
Yes,
he is
I'm
quite
pretty
furry.
furry.
But no, the werewolf. I like how it looks. I think it blends. I think it looks
it's
really
a
good.
job. I think he was an excellent tattoo artist.
I just don't. I don't know. I guess I've never really, since nothing's ever really been confirmed of a werewolf, like other than like the story of Ossery and the drawn pictures.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe they do have like raccoon tails.
Well,
look at the Beast of Gévaudan, the drawings and stuff from the time.
yeah.
What the hell
so
is that?
But does this
Right.
Bray Road Beast have a tail? He doesn't have a tail. He just has claws and red
nobody
eyes.
ever mentioned a tail.
And a broad chest, and he's kind
No,
of furry.
He stands up like a man, except
eats
his
hamburgers.
legs are
Eats roadkill like hamburgers.
dog-like, and he has hands, humanoid hands. They don't call it human hands; they call it humanoid hands. So I will say that
So
okay.
it's not like a claw.
So the thing about shape shifting in werewolves, or the ability to change into an animal, transcends every
Oh
continent,
yeah, for sure.
every culture. We all have our werewolves.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I mean, every culture has shape shifting.
Should be pointed out that Wendigo is not a werewolf.
No.
But
Okay, so that's another
Skinwalker
thing.
is though.
Yeah, exactly. So
So a
Wendigo,
skinwalker and a shapeshifter are
A
synonymous.
skinwalker is a shapeshifter.
a
It's a type
skinwalker
of
is a
shapeshifter.
shapeshifter.
Type of okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Once again, I'm not knowledgeable as much as
And-
you two. On
right.
this.
So it could have been a werewolf, okay, but if werewolves were real. Say that 3
Wow.
times
Werewolves
fast.
were real.
Wow.
Werewolves were real. Werewolves were real.
Okay, if they were real, then yeah, let's say okay, it's a werewolf, and that is, like I say, it transcends every culture, it transcends every continent.
I mean, there's something to that. All myths are based in legends, and legends have some root in reality. But the werewolf thing goes back to Greek mythology. The word lycanthrope comes from. Now, I'm not going to remember the exact names, but
Lycanthropy?
yeah, it is lichen or like.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
going to have to
The Greek
forgive my lack of knowledge on this, but
King Lycan
yeah,
is the one who offered up his son as a meal to Zeus.
thank you. Zeus cursed him to.
And
forever
yeah,
walk
Zeus
the earth.
knew what was up,
and that's where
and he brought the
lycanthropy
boy
comes
back
from.
to life.
Yeah,
Oh, see, I
Okay.
know about lichens from the movie.
Yeah,
Underworld.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean,
it actually goes all the way back to Greek mythology.
yeah, it does. King Lycan.
Yeah.
So
Good looking out remembering that because I'm
Yeah.
I'm seeing the story in my head, but I cannot remember.
right,
that.
you remember? So he wanted to trick Zeus, and he tried to pull this off, and it didn't work well for him.
No,
So what else could it be?
misidentified Sasquatch.
Misidentified Sasquatch,
Dogman.
a bear.
Dogman?
Dogman.
I think Dogman and werewolf all fall into the same
Oh, okay.
boat, the same category of.
So here's my thing about the whole werewolf
Cryptid.
thing. Okay, I would love to believe that there are werewolves. I really would.
But do you believe in the curse? It bites you or scratches you, and then the curse is passed on, and the only way that you can end it is by finding the OG werewolf.
A lot of this is Hollywood, you realize.
Silver bullets.
A lot of it's Hollywood, and so if you look at the European werewolves, it was a curse, or they could have done something to bring this on to themselves. They could intentionally become a werewolf by drinking from a paw print of a wolf. Yeah,
You're going to get something that's ain't
Werewolf?
You're going to get giardia.
No, werewolf. So, no, seriously.
Get something.
Seriously,
Rabies.
they believed then that's what happened. These guys would drink from these wolf prints, in the mud, and they would lap water out of it to become a werewolf, and then they would.
You're going to get dysentery.
They contracted rabies.
Yeah,
And so
rabid.
then they're foaming at the mouth. They're biting at people. Oh, they must be turned into a werewolf. So, and that's what happened. I read. I think I was like 12 years old when I read The Werewolf Delusion, and it goes into the psychology and the psychopathy of lycanthropy, and it talked about the people who believe they had become werewolves.
Who was the guy in France? Gilles something. I can't
Oh
remember. It was actually put on trial for
Yes.
being a werewolf.
Yes.
But he thought, because that's like a mental disorder where people really believe that
Yes.
they're werewolves. You're talking about
Yes.
that, lycanthropy.
Lycanthropy. And so anyway, but people believe that if you wore the right loincloth of a wolf skin and you what they did, they would melt down this animal fat, and mix different hallucinogenic drugs in it, and then smear it over their body, put the wolf loincloth on, and they would transform into a wolf. So they were tripping. They were tripping balls.
The Vikings had this too.
The berserkers, yes.
Berserkers had Ulfeldar,
Yeah.
wolf-coated men who would put on
Right.
wolf skins and get pumped up. Probably did some mushrooms and got
Right,
pumped up for
exactly.
battle.
No, I mean, seriously, they did, though,
Yeah.
I mean, you laugh, but
No, they
it's
really
It's a legit thing.
Yeah.
So
I
what
don't
else
doubt
could
it.
be a prank? Could somebody have pranked?
It's a lot of people to
For
prank. You
400
said there was 400 people?
Well, I didn't say that yet, but yeah, just around. I told you guys earlier before the show. There was actually Linda Godfrey, the reporter, collected 400 accounts of people said, "I saw this thing,"
At different times that they claimed that they saw this.
over about a 30-year period.
Okay, so that's different times. So we're not talking about a prank.
No, we're not.
These
talking about
are
a prank.
people
If
over-
it was a prank. They pranked people for 30 years straight.
And they're not
And
part of the
then-
same family.
So think about if you go all the way back to 1936 when Shackleman first saw it. Then you're talking about, well, he was pranking in 1936 and he's pranking in the last sighting was 2020.
He's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, so it's not the same person pranking if they're
Yeah.
if it was a prank.
I mean-
So what else could have been? I know the foul odor makes me think Sasquatch
Yeah.
because they tend to,
Or
everybody
demon.
or demon,
He was by a monastery, right? Or no,
Franciscan convent.
convent. Excuse me.
So he was in an old
Guess there's
convent.
no monks in Wisconsin.
And so too, he was at a psych hospital, and I think that there are people who are mentally ill. I think there are people who are oppressed and possessed by demonic entities, and I think sometimes those are confused.
Okay.
Okay, I think some people who you say, oh, they're crazy or they're they're mentally ill. Well, no, they have demonic oppression. I think other people who have demonic oppression and say, oh, well, they're mentally ill. No,
So are you saying Shackleman had this?
No, what I'm saying is maybe that was someone from that school because it was for developmentally disabled, or back then it would have been,
Right.
adult mentally retarded is what they would have called it. That's what they would have called it back then. So, or children with mental retardation is what it would have been called back then. So I think maybe one of them, it could have been one of them who thought they were a werewolf, or, you know, could have been a lot of different
But then
things.
let's cycle forward to 2020.
Okay.
It's probably not that.
It's probably not that.
I mean, it's not being seen at said place. It's being seen on a road.
Yeah.
Eating roadkill like a cheeseburger. So, I mean...
No, I mean, seriously, that's what it was.
I mean, I don't know. I would like to see said claw marks in the car. I really do. I want to see this.
You know, they
Be
may
nice.
be out there on some database somewhere from a newspaper or something. I didn't have access to that when I was looking for it.
Microfiche.
Maybe it is, but I didn't
You know
travel.
what?
I didn't travel to Elkhorn to go into the newspaper
Listen.
microfiche.
If Patterson and Gimlin in 1967 can get the best,
The
the
quintessential.
quintessential, the still heavyweight, undefeated champion of Bigfoot footage in 1967 with the little hand crank camera, you telling me in the 90s
all
somebody
I'm saying,
didn't have one of those JVC camera? I mean,
all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it's real, and I'm not saying that it's not real. What I'm saying is the preponderance of personal accounts of people seeing it.
that does weigh heavily. Yeah,
They saw. Here's my thing. I think they saw something.
there's something out there.
I think they saw something. I don't know that it's a werewolf. I don't know that it's a squatch. You know, I don't know what it is. I know they saw something.
I'm not putting a tent up and camping out on Bray Road.
And
overnight.
I think it was something so abnormal to what they were used to seeing, because those people up there, they live out in the woods. They see bears. You know, they know what a bear looks like. They know what a wolf looks like, probably.
They only have
I mean,
black bears there, and everybody knows what they look like.
Right. And, you know, and I mean, we live in Texas. We don't have that many wolves here. But even for my time I've spent out in the woods, and I've spent quite a bit, you know, I've seen three wolves in my lifetime.
Oh, yeah, they're very rare,
They are rare.
especially here.
I've seen one mountain lion, or cougar, puma, whatever you
I've
want to
seen
call
a
it.
black one,
I saw a black one.
which they say don't even exist
They
here.
say don't exist,
which
but
is
they do.
horseshit, because
They do.
everybody I know
And
who's
even the
grown
games
up
warden will tell you they
who's grown
exist.
up, spent time in the country, knows that those are real.
Okay, so paranormal, not paranormal. What do you think?
Well, it's not normal.
It's not normal, is it?
Many accounts report a wolf-like monster frolicking through the local cornfields. That's what this thing says. Frolicking.
I have frolicked in a lot of places, but I have never frolicked
In a
through a
cornfield.
Now,
One even chasing a deer, it says.
I have frolicked in the back of a car
I'm sure.
a time or two. I frolicked behind a club one night, but where I was playing, but I never frolicked through a cornfield. All right, moving on. I think we killed that one. Alyssa,
Yes.
talk to me about
A listener story?
Listener story, yeah.
Okay. This one is called Old Henry. Submitted to us by a listener, future listener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says Angelina College, 1983-ish. Angelina College is very near to us in Lufkin, Texas, small East Texas town. I was at the theater late. So apparently she used to work in the theater. I was at the theater late with a couple of other students setting lights for the show. I was standing on the stage floor handing the other two on the ladder supplies. They could not see into the house or the audience area, but I could. There were only a few dim lights on just so no one would fall off the stage, as we needed to see the stage lights as they came on to be focused, etc. As the other two guys were working, I looked out into the house and saw the outlined shadow of a man wearing a hat, the kind they wore back in the 1950s, in a trench coat. Since no one was supposed to be in the theater, I said something like, "Can I help you?" The man did not respond, but my friends on the ladder did. "Who are you talking to?" And I explained to them there was a man in the house. They started coming down the ladder, and I looked out into the house again. No man. They said I must have been dreaming of a man and I was crazy or something like that. After protesting that no, I really did see a man, one of them said, "Let's just finish," and we got back to work. Fast forward a week later. I was off stage setting props when my friend that had given me a hard time earlier walked on stage. The stage lights were dimly lit, but no house lights. He walked backward to where I was and said something like, "I think I see your man." I went on stage with him, and there was the same figure I had seen the week before. My friend said, "Can I help you?" "The rehearsal is closed." I witnessed the shadow fading into mist. We both just looked at each other and got out of there. The next weeks, we would see Henry. That's what we named him. And at some point, my friend asked him if that was okay. Each time we came into the theater, we would say, "Hi, Henry," or something like that. Chit-chat, little stuff. Each time we saw him, he was standing in the back of the house. Then it was time for the show. We had a last-minute problem with lighting, and an instrument light, or a light, was hung next to a broken one. During the show, the new light was flickering. My friend decided to just not use it. I told him that was fine, except for the one place in the show when that was the only light that was on. We discussed in detail through the intercom system we were using. We decided we just had to hope the light would work. When the time came, the light in question did not work. But I thought it did. From my spot off stage, the light was on. But my friend was freaking out. I kept saying, "Calm down, it worked." But it didn't. After a while, he explained to me that the light that was on was the light that he had unplugged. I said, "Impossible," or something like that, and he said, "But it's on." When the scene was over, the light went out. After the show, we checked it, and it was in fact unplugged from all electricity. We stood there for a minute, and then at the same time, we both said, "Henry." My friend said, "Thanks, Henry," and the light flickered. We kept talking to Henry, and everyone else thought we were crazy, but I didn't see him again. Not sure if anyone else ever did see Henry, and no one believed us that the light that was unplugged really came on. Ooh.
It reminds me of flashlight communication, so where you take an old mag light and you just barely,
yeah. So
I don't know if Henry's real, but the light came on that's unplugged, and then it flickered, and then never came on again, and they never saw him again.
So, okay, I'm going to go back, and I think that one of the quotes that I have on our website, paranormal-spirits.com, is the one where Shakespeare's in Hamlet. He said, and I said that with a question mark at the end because I think it's Hamlet. He said, "There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophies or ratio." So I think that the spiritual side or spirit side of the theater has been around for a long time. Everybody, they talk Hamlet's ghost, and
it is Hamlet.
It's Hamlet.
It is Hamlet.
Or Amleth.
Yeah,
which is the original Saxon Grammaticus Danish story that
right. But so
wealth of knowledge over here.
I know John is. I swear to God,
it's actually a Viking story that Shakespeare based that on.
He has a brain like a steel trap. It just grabs this knowledge and holds on to it, and that's what I love about him. So, but the idea of ghosts in theaters has been associated for a long time.
For one thing, theaters have been around for a long time. There's so many old theaters.
Right.
Listen, this is one of those things I look at.
Every theater has a ghost, or
I look at them. Those old ones, haunted. Every
Are they
time.
haunted, babe?
Every time. Those old school ones you see, and like we have one here.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Was it the
haunted.
Liberty?
Okay.
Haunted.
So, yeah, I didn't see it. I wasn't there, but I would not deny it, and I wouldn't discount that at all. I mean, I've seen enough ghosts myself to know that they.
And then you have two people that actually saw it, and then it went into a mist, which you always hear. So.
Yeah, it turned into a mist.
Yeah, he went off in a mist.
I think that was cool.
Yep.
So, John, what do you got for us? Kind of wacky, crazy stuff.
I have a video I sent to you guys.
Okay. I see it over here in Messenger.
It is from NBC's Today Show, but there are several versions of it. But it was about 9 months ago. A zoo in Amarillo caught something very interesting on their security cams in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember something about this. It was like there was like a chain link, and this thing is like walking past it or something.
It looks a lot like what you've described in your story.
This was on Adeline's birthday that it was.
This
also hasn't eaten in a while, whatever it is. But
yeah, it's quite.
It's very skinny. Mm-hmm. Now, this is just showing a still.
A still. I haven't seen a
photo.
video. I think it's a still. It was caught on a motion, so a trail cam
video,
type.
and I'm like, so this is either if it's a person playing a
it's
part,
a really
it's a
thin
really cachectic person.
What is you're gonna have to define that word?
Cachectic is extremely thin.
Emaciated.
That's
Essentially.
of course emaciated. Yes.
I can't say the other word I would say for that because some people might think I was being insensitive towards eating disorders, but
Usually, cachectic is used to describe loss of weight during a disease.
nurse,
Especially with
Yes.
registered
Cancer,
nurse.
AIDS,
like
and other
cancer,
diseases.
AIDS,
Anything that causes wasting.
wasting, tuberculosis.
Is there anything that you can get temporarily that can waste about 35 pounds away from you and then go away?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if you do, would you let me know? You know,
listen, there's
fine.
all kinds of new drugs out there right
because
now.
I think honestly, with the
Prescription
additional
drugs.
weight that I put on recently, I think I need 2 good stomach flus.
Listen, let's not put that juju out there, okay? No juju of any of that.
Right? I think I need
No,
2 good
no, stop
stomach
that.
flus.
Stop.
I'm about
No.
30 to 35 over what prime John weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just been rough, man. You hit a certain age over 50.
is
Just
your,
rock the dad bod.
is your,
What's wrong with the dad bod? Right?
You got to buy all new clothes.
It's the 3 letters. What is it? So I've had too much tequila. And I can't
Low
remember.
T, that's 4 letters.
No.
blame it on that.
BDI, BD.
Hymns, anyone like that feel like sponsoring.
Right.
Roman,
Oh,
anyone
so-
who provides a
So-
sort of testosterone enhancement.
Right.
But
So
the very thin-looking werewolf that has
That
not
is a
eaten
very,
anything
very
but
thin
like.
He is
werewolf.
very
But then
thin.
again, it's an Amarillo, which is deserty, is it
And
not?
to me, it looks like he is looking at the camera, like he noticed the IR flash.
To me, it's somebody
I
like
see
it's in
2
a
eyes.
werewolf costume.
Yeah.
But who?
It's
though?
been a while
Like,
since
is
I've
it,
seen
is
the
that
video.
Iggy Pop? In a
How long
werewolf
ago
costume?
was this?
9 months ago.
That
And-
said June 10th of 2022,
Yeah, it's recent.
which is Adeline's birthday.
So I don't
So,
remember
ish.
ever hearing a lot of these things that they come up with like this, you know, oh, we've caught this, we caught that. And then they come up with something that says, oh, it's been solved.
I
you
think
know,
this
we
one's
figured
still a mystery.
it. I can't imagine that it would not be because that's.
But if there's not a full video and it's just a still, how easy is that to fake?
Not
really.
really. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if it's a steal. But
Still.
I'm not a. What'd I say?
Still.
Don't you make fun of me. Make fun of my East Texas drawl.
Like some of these usually get resolved. Remember the weird? It was supposed to be alien caught on ring camera walking in a driveway. The kid who lives there showed how he did it.
Right?
It was just a kid going out there and he was just being silly. He's a lanky little kid.
No one's ever disproven this one.
No one's disproven this one.
I mean, it looks like a werewolf. If what we've seen is true. Maybe it's the Bray Beast that showed back up in Amarillo.
I don't know. Maybe it is.
Let me ask you this, Mike.
Okay.
Do you believe in werewolves in the traditional, in the European historical
Ossuary.
sense of a human that is at the curse of the werewolf, the full moon changes them into a
Okay.
rabid beast.
You
that
got
has
it
to eat
tattooed
human
on your
parts,
arm.
I believe in a lot of things.
and that they have to be killed with silver bullets.
I
or-
believe in a lot of things that I can't explain. I believe we live in a spiritual world that is around our physical world because of things that I have experienced. I do not believe that a person goes out there and stands under the full moon and howls at the moon and becomes a werewolf.
right.
Okay, and the reason I don't believe that is because the scientific side of my brain kicks in. It goes, okay, in order for the metabolism and the metamorphosis that would have to take place for a
Kill someone.
human being to change, you got a magical spiritual, you know. So in order though for that to happen though, you're talking about the energy of probably 2 or 3 atomic bombs to transform a human into something that's not human.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Well-
you're talking about the energy displacement, I mean, It's impossible. It's impossible.
It's impossible. This is why when I hear
somebody-
dog man or something, I kind of, you've either misidentified a Bigfoot.
or you faked. And you know
Or it's fake.
the one where there's a really famous video where supposedly this was 1970 something where they
Oh, the big black thing that comes running up on him.
Yes,
I know
and they-
exactly what you're talking
and
about.
it was completely fake. And the guy came out and said, "Yeah, it's fake."
I think
He
it's
said,
probably just a
"We
black
used an
chow
old-"
chow they got to attack him.
No, it was a person that was dressed up in a ghillie suit,
Chow chow.
a modified ghillie suit.
It looks like a chow dog.
Okay, so it was dressed up in a modified ghillie suit. They bought the old scooters or whatever it was that they were using for the film.
The old truck. They're in an old truck, old 1970s
Was
truck.
bought. The guy, and he just loped on all fours running.
It looks
towards the-
great though.
It's great. The guy, he deserves an Academy Award for special effects because that was great looking, but it's fake. It's 100% fake, and we know it's fake. It was found out. But and I mean they even got, what was it, a go-kart or something, an old scooter, old bolts, old trucks, whatever it was. They used an old camera and old film.
Oh, definitely they used a hand crank camera.
Yeah, old camera, old film to film this, to make it
Like an
look,
8mm.
Yeah, to make it look real.
Which is why I'm still disappointed we can't see the Bray Beast claw marks in the car. I want to see that.
I tell you what, you can take a trip to Elkhorn and
There is no footage of any of
I
it.
have seen some documentary show or something where
They
a
showed the claw
woman
marks.
talks about her vehicle being attacked by something, and she left the damage on there so you could see it.
And here's the sad
And it
thing,
looks
because
like
the one person
claws and drags
So the
in the
one
side of the
person-
car. It was pretty convincing.
So the one person that could say, okay, I saw them and they were like,
Can't remember what it
legit
was.
claw marks. Linda Godfrey, she passed away. She passed away last year, 71 years old. So we won't ever know, or at least not from her, about the Bray Road Beast.
And you don't believe in werewolves.
I don't believe in werewolves. I think it is physically, from a physical standpoint, I think it's just impossible.
That's
It would
how I
take
feel
too
about it.
much energy to transform a human to a creature.
But
Also,
you got the story tattooed on your arm.
For sure.
it's a cool story. I mean, I love those movies too. But
I'm Irish.
I can see scientifically my brain can make total sense out of a Sasquatch or Bigfoot.
Absolutely. You've got
Evolutionarily
not
speaking, it makes
changing.
total sense.
It's not.
It's not
Which is
changing.
what
a
you're saying.
Sasquatch turned into a human being.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, at some point.
So does a werewolf exist without being a human? Can it just be a werewolf? Could there
A
just be?
bipedal wolf?
Well, that would be a dog man, I guess.
Bipedal wolf?
But the actual transformation's not there for you.
No, the actual transformation is not.
What is the thing down in Louisiana? What do they call it? There's a French. Is it Loup-garou? Rougarou.
No, it's loup-garou.
There's a name for it in the swamps
Loup-garou.
where men transform into a
Loup is
loup-garou, but then
Loup
in
is
Cajun they call
lupine.
it Rougarou
Yeah, loup is
with an R.
wolf.
Right. Yeah.
Garou is man. So
Yeah, but I've heard it
wolfman.
referred to in Cajun as Rougarou.
It's a rougarou is a monster with the head of a wolf and the body of a man that prowls the
Yeah.
swamps in Louisiana and Canadian folklore.
But I think that
Cajun.
maybe there's something that takes over certain men. They don't turn into a wolf, but they do turn into a killer.
I do not doubt.
It's serial killers.
Like
Well,
Gilles Garay was the man in France.
Yes.
Was
The
a serial
werewolf.
killer.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, so I guess, we're coming up on an hour of time that we spent, so we probably ought to wrap it up at some point. But
There was actually, let me just tell you this real quick. So when Mike and I first got together, many moons ago, I truly believe this man thought he was a werewolf. I really did. I really did.
He's hairy as hell.
Yes,
But
he really is. Well, because he believes in the supernatural, and he would talk about howling at the moon and stuff, just being funny. But I was like, I actually had an honest conversation, and I said, do you really believe you're a werewolf? And he's like,
he really did.
He goes, are you serious? And I was like, yes, like, I don't know, you believe in paranormal stuff, like, do you? He goes, no, I don't believe in any of that. So that was like my one moment of being really foolish.
So I got to be honest with you.
With our relationship.
The part about the werewolf that gets me is the romanticism involved in werewolves. Okay, so when I was a kid, when you were a kid, we had Dracula. We had
the old Universal Studios monster.
We had Dracula, Bela Lugosi. We had Frankenstein. Yeah. We had the Mummy, and we had the Wolfman. And that was basically our 4 monsters. That's what we grew up with. Okay? So let me go down the line. So we have Dracula. Dracula, if he bit you, you got 2 holes in the side of your neck. You live forever. You got to wear cool-ass clothes. You got all the hot chicks.
And you never died.
With low-cut.
I don't believe in those. I believe there are actual human beings, super gothy human beings who drink blood.
Yeah, I know there are, but
they are not living forever.
Right. Okay. So, but that was a monster. That was Dracula. Okay. And then you had the Mummy. Okay. This dude is wrapped up in bandages.
Mummies are real.
And he walks around like this. He's not going to get me, right? I can outrun him. You have Frankenstein. And I read at an early age, I was a kid, a young kid when I read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And it was an extremely sad story.
By the way, the monster is not, but the doctor is Frankenstein.
Yeah, the true monster was Frankenstein. He was a horrible,
but
horrible
a lot of people
person.
say Frankenstein. Or
right.
But that's the monster.
The doctor was the monster.
The doctor is Frankenstein. Agreed. The monster is just called the monster.
Right. He was a horrible person in that book.
Oh, yeah.
Bad guy. Okay. So.
But the werewolf. Or the wolfman.
The wolfman. This is something that stalked you in the middle of the night down some misty road with the trees over the top and the fog. And he snuck up on you and he waited till that perfect moment and he pounced. And when he did, he ripped your throat out. If you were lucky enough to get away. You could fight him off.
You're going to turn into one because
you're going to turn into a werewolf too.
It is the best one. It's always been my favorite
Dude, it was the one that scared me when I was a kid. It's the only thing that scared me. The other 3 didn't.
No.
But the werewolf scared me because, oh my God. And he did not want to be what he was.
It was a curse.
I think that all of us, to some degree, have a part of us that we go, I don't really want to be what I am. I want to be something different. But I can't do anything about it.
Oh, now you can today. It's all very popular today to do something about it.
You can spend enough money, But I could go get my hair. I could get my hair colored.
I've seen people say, I would identify as wolf.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
For sure.
Oh,
but to have the full on werewolfness.
So, but my point is that everybody wants to be something else, and this was something that was forced on Lon Chaney Jr. and Lon Chaney.
And the guy in American Werewolf in London. And the kid in American Werewolf in Paris.
All the
Anthony Hopkins in Wolfman.
And Benicio del Toro.
Great movies. Great
Wolfman movies. Great movies.
But those are classic gothic horrors. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
What's your favorite werewolf movie?
Wolfman, Anthony Hopkins.
Really?
Is that yours?
Really? I really love that movie. I love it. You like American...
Dog Soldiers, American Werewolf in London.
That's number 2.
The Howling.
No, wait. The Wolfman, the new one with Benicio del Toro.
Right.
That's number 2. Number 1 is Dog Soldiers.
The Howling.
Oh, that's up there too.
Yeah. Howl. Have you seen Howl, the British one? Where they're in the train and the train stalls on the train.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Really good one.
But
how about the cheesy American Werewolf in Paris?
No.
I rewatched that recently. I saw that first when it first came out, and I was much younger then. CGI was kind of new, and I thought it was really cool, and I liked it better than the London one. I just watched that a couple weeks ago again as an adult.
London's better.
I finished it, but yeah, the practical effects in London are so much better, so
Okay,
amazing. It's all practical effects. That claws grow out.
So if you watch it though, if you watch Paris, American Werewolf in Paris, a whip, and you watch it, what? A whip? What's wrong with a whip?
I don't know. It's funny. That's good. That's
what we used to call it. A whip. So American Werewolf in Paris, if you watch it from the perspective of it being a dark comedy,
there are some funny parts.
It's great, man.
Yeah, but there's some funny parts in London too. And there's some really funny parts in London. Then there's that messed up Nazi zombie thing murdering the family scene. That's
oh my god!
And can you classify Underworld as being a werewolf movie?
I enjoy those films.
Oh my gosh!
Or is it vampire? Or is it both?
It's both.
I love the way that they combine those two worlds because they've never.
But y'all didn't actually bring up Underworld as being a Wolfman werewolf movie. So that's why I'm asking.
It's not in the classic sense.
It's both. Because it's not. It's more, you think Underworld first and you want to know why. Or you think
Give
vampire.
Me your mic because you sound really hot.
Oh, Late Stages.
And you know why you think vampire.
You've seen Late Stages. Mm-hmm. That's a fantastic one too.
You think vampire because of Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale in that
She's
cat
the takeaway.
Suit. Let me tell you.
I mean, you take away. That's why you think it's a vampire. I know. That's why.
No, let me tell you. Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna drop it there.
That's that movie. That's why it's not a werewolf movie.
Because I love you, and I don't want to have to.
Oh please.
We're not gonna fire.
I have eyeballs. I have eyeballs. Right? I mean, come on.
That's my fifth. Did I make five? American Werewolf in London. The Howling.
Yeah.
Howl. Late Phases. Okay, I got four. Those are the best four. Oh,
Wolfman. You don't like Wolfman?
It was okay. It was fun,
Underworld?
but I like it where they completely transform into a,
So
the ones in Howl that's a brilliant film where they're trapped in that train.
Mm-hmm.
Those look great. The woman who's been bitten, the older woman who's been bitten, and she starts turning. And oh man, that's great. I just rewatched that again recently, and I appreciate how great that film is.
I can't remember. I'm gonna have to find out. I'm gonna have to look it up. There is one that was made in Mexico. Man, God, I can't remember the name of it.
Hecho en Mexico.
Hecho
en Mexico. Just like
Mexico.
This.
True. Okay,
the she-wolf?
No, not she-wolf.
No. So what was our tequila tonight, John?
This was Don Julio Blanco.
Don Julio, not Don Julio 1942, just Don Julio Blanco. Yes. Okay.
It's just Don Julio. This is their base spirit, their base juice.
This is the LX version.
It is, or the LX.
Or EX.
The EX version. If you're a Honda, this is the EX version.
Yeah, the LX.
House of Terror is another one from Mexico. Doña Lupe.
Doña Lupe. Ooh, wolf lady. Yeah.
So we have, speaking of Mexico, okay, so Don Julio, go try some.